Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about some of the most impressive soundtracks I've ever heard in some of my favorite open source games I played on my Twitch channel in this year. These soundtracks are all different one from the other, but all of them are great. I hope you'll enjoy the video and let's start with number 5 on the chart. In 5th position we have Hedgewars. This is a Worms clone doing a great job reviving the Worms atmosphere. We have a very good quality soundtrack that sounds playful most of times. The game deserves to be in this top 5 chart. The music never bores you and there are different music styles here. So regarding the code and the assets, they should be under GNU public license, but if you want to understand more, you can just go to the Git repo. I will attach all the information and the link in the description below. In 4th position we have SuperTuxKart. SuperTuxKart is one of my favorite games. I spent hours on this game. The soundtrack is fine. Even though I will change some of the tracks, it's still good. I think the composers did a great job, but as I said, some of the tracks should be improved or remastered. But overall, I like the soundtrack. The soundtrack was made having a playful style in mind, so every track follows this music style. And this creates a very consistent soundtrack after all. Keep in mind that being an open source game, some of the compositions were added after a long time. This game is old, like almost 20 years old, so probably some of the latest tracks are sounding better compared to the old tracks with the oldest maps we see in game. They are constantly improving the game and they'll probably refresh the soundtrack too. In 3rd place we have Veloren. It is the newest game featured in this chart and it's a very promising project. Veloren tries to combine the more traditional MMORPG experience with Minecraft or Minetest or voxel games visuals. This is creating a very successful combination of elements and it's a very pleasant experience even if it's still on early development. This is an open world game, it already supports multiplayer, you can play connecting to the master server. But talking about the soundtrack, I like how they try to create an epic soundtrack, but at the same time combining this epicness with the glitchy sounds and electronic sounds, recalling some other glitchy or 8-bit soundtracks that will be appropriate for pixelated games or 8-bit games. I'm sure this soundtrack will improve even more because the game is still on early development. So I'm really curious to see what will this soundtrack turn out. In 2nd position there's Battle for Wesnoth. This is the first open source game I ever played and I fell in love immediately. This is an addicting game with a very consistent and solid soundtrack. It is actually created using orchestral arrangements and orchestral sounds and instruments. So you expect to have the same music style here for the entire soundtrack, and the composers did a great job. I will listen to this soundtrack every day, even when I'm not playing. This is really well crafted. The game deserves to be played as well as the soundtrack. In first position we have Zero AD, and this game has one of the best soundtracks ever. I love this soundtrack. It features music tracks with real instruments, live recorded in a recording studio, and the composer did a very nice job creating an epic soundtrack that is similar to the ones that we see in games like Age of Empires that this game tries to imitate. The game actually is being developed slowly but steadily. I can't pick a favorite between all the tracks in this soundtrack because they are all magnificent tracks. I wanted to mention two other games that actually have a really nice soundtrack. The first is Red Eclipse 2, with this unique electronic soundtrack that really follows the unique art style of the game. The composer did a great job creating an iconic soundtrack like this. Every time I hear the menu track, I clearly can see with my eyes Red Eclipse 2. It's actually so iconic that I immediately associate that sound to Red Eclipse 2. Flare RPG, that's one of my favorite action RPGs. I like some of the tracks in this game. I really like the dark vibes present in these tracks, but one of among the others really was stuck in my head, and it is the Forest theme. I literally listened to this song for days because it was so cool and dark at the same time. Gives you that dark feeling, something really weird happened in the world where you are playing, and I love that. Thank you for watching, and thank you very much for all the support. We are almost 500 people on this channel, and my first video where I talk about Linux audio production reached more than 10,000 views. Thank you very much, everybody. As always, like, subscribe and comment below. You'll find all the information about those soundtracks in the description below, and see you next time.